We're already over.
Okay.
No!
Beautiful counting.
You know how like a countdown at the end of the countdown, normally that's like when the countdown's over.
Well, yeah. It's like that thing where it's like, is it 3, 2, 1 or is it 3, 2, 1, go? You know what I mean?
On 3 or after 3. Yeah.
But it's fine because we got there. But
We did it.
hello, everyone. Welcome to session 2 of Zholmyr Unbridled with Homebrew Advantage. We are excited to be back. We had an action-packed first session. So that was super exciting. And for those who were not able to catch us a couple weeks ago when we streamed on Twitch, we are having all of our episodes put up on our YouTube channel, which is also just at Homebrew Advantage. Or you can follow our Instagram, also at Homebrew Advantage, and just see some of the highlights. You don't want to plug in for the whole episode. But for now, we are back. To give a little bit of a recap of what happened in our last episode, we met our cast of characters in the city of Scarport, up in the northwestern part of the continent, which, of course, Scarport is known for being a little bit of a somewhat shady city of privateers, freebooters, and all sorts of kind of unseelie sorts. But we met our first 2 characters, Jasper and Valterra, as they sailed in, seeking to meet with Captain Laurel Arison. Were they, Captain Arison, one of Valterra's contacts, and Jasper seeking passage on the captain's ship to try to head back to his home with the High Elves. Seemed like they were getting a deal squared away. Meanwhile, our other 3 characters, Violet, or as she's more commonly known as Sal, Elaine, and Davina, were meeting up with a contact at the local saloon, The Rock, where they met up with an ice ganassi and Captain Arison's son, Niall, who filled them in that he had just recently come back from guiding a party up into the Drowworm Mountains, and he was able to swipe a couple golden feathers that seemed to have some special abilities, and was hoping that he could work with the 3 to try to make something of this discovery. The 2 groups were then brought together at the Rock, and as they were walking back to the Arison household, the storm that had been raging outside the whole evening seemed to get even more violent, and some sort of dark, shadowy, winged creature came down with a bolt of lightning, and the party was able to fend it off. And they rushed back to the Arison household, unfortunately, to find the slain body of Captain Arison in the darkness of the manor. And so, with that, we now return once again to the darkened room where our party and their new friend Niall stand in disbelief with the body of the captain on the ground for them. And once again, at the moment, we have Niall pinned up against the wall by Valterra, Jasper holding his 6-shooter pistol right in the young man's face, demanding answers, while Niall stares shocked at the corpse of his mother on the floor. And he says once again, "Ma?"
I'll kind of maybe slightly less forcefully, but more direct, kind of like pull his attention back towards me as best I can. I'll say, "Look at me, Niall. tell me what you got yourself into.
You don't understand. They asked me to take them up the mountain. They couldn't have done this.
Who?
They wouldn't.
Who asked you?
He shifts an eye nervously at Violet and at Davina, and he stutters and says, I don't know exactly who they were. They seemed important. But they didn't give me any names, and I didn't recognize them.
Where were they from? What did they want? Just to go up the mountain?
They said they needed someone to get them up on a path to the peaks. I think they were looking for something, but they didn't tell me what it was.
Look, I know we've only just met, but we've already grilled Niall for all of this information. He's basically has nothing on these people. They clearly didn't want to be found or traced. And Niall seems like the perfect person that they got to take him up the mountain.
Kind of like, I think very quickly I'm going to kind of come to like a sudden realization of something, and I'm going to immediately cast Blade Ward on myself. And then I'm going to kind of look at Jasper. We should see if there's anybody else here.
I'll go
You
with
guys stay with Niall. Jasper, we should go make sure there's nobody else in the house.
Son of a
And can we do like a search of the house real quick to see if there's anybody like or anything that they left?
Yeah, sure. So are you looking more for any sort of trace or like evidence that someone was here, or are you trying to be stealthy and kind of like scope out and see if there's anyone else in the house?
I think
Trying to do both.
I
not
would
being
say-
necessarily stealthy,
I would say that I'm more focused on if anyone's here, and then Vel could come behind me and kind of be looking for signs of things, because I'm hyper paranoid at this point and pissed off. So I'm actually hoping there's someone here a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I don't think we're trying to be stealthy. Like if there's somebody here, we want them to find us, and we want to know.
Okay, then Jasper, give me a perception check, and Vel, give me an investigation check.
While they do that, in the room with Elaine, Val, and Niall in the body, I'm gonna cast Detect Magic, and I'm gonna look at Elaine and just say, make sure your sword's ready.
I draw my sword.
Violet is going to close the eyes of the captain and stand up and look at Jamina and Elaine and say, well, this is a mess. And I don't think we should even be here. So we should just go, right?
Violet,
No.
it was looking for the feather.
Right,
It wanted you.
right. Which is why we should go.
We need numbers. I couldn't fight that thing on my own, and that's a difficult thing for me to admit.
And
But
we can't have
quietly-
any loose ends. If there are people looking for this feather and we intend to use it for whatever reason, we can't have them following us.
I just don't know if I trust those two. They seem
I'll agree
very
with you.
personal situation. Okay.
14 for me, Thea.
Okay,
20.
20. All right. So let's start with Jasper as someone who's going to take a lead, trying to see. Yeah, very Call of Duty, clear cut. But you go through the different pieces of the house, and again, if I remember correctly, at the end of the last session, you had cast dancing lights, so you do have some lights that are helping you to see. Because again, most of this house is darkened. There's light coming from
Yeah,
flashes.
and I will say, so that part of dancing lights, what I can do is make it look vaguely like a humanoid. Yeah, so
Really?
you can combine them in the
Yeah.
shape of like it. There's no features on it, but like it takes the shape of like a humanoid. Um, and I'll have it walking in front of me. This is something I probably used to do as a soldier to try and like preempt ambushes. Like you send it ahead of yourself so that if something like is like gonna jump at the first sight of something, it jumps onto your dancing lights and does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, well, so Jasper's dancing lights are just tiptoe walking through the house in their humanoid form. No, but you, because right now you guys are located in kind of like the study / library area, which is in the rear of the house. You start by kind of moving over into a larger sort of living room parlor area. You kind of look around, you scan, you're listening. Again, the rain and the thunder are the noises that you hear right now, but you're listening for anything else that you can. And this is coming, Jasper, from your place of training as a soldier in the jungle. You are used to being able to pick out very specific noises through a cacophony of other sounds. And as you're listening, you hear nothing but silence in these rooms. You move on from the living room and the parlor area to the kitchen. You're now working around towards the front of the house. Same thing, silence. Are you continuing to go kind of deeper into the house, like onto the second floor? Are you trying to do like a full sweep for this thing?
Yeah, full sweep.
Okay. So you come out of the kitchen and you are back in sort of the foyer area where you all entered. Same thing, nothing. The door it looks undisturbed from how it was when you entered. Has remained closed. There's a stairwell leading up to the second story of the house. You slowly climb up the stairs, a couple of creaks. But again, you're listening for anything that you can hear at the top of those stairs, but still all you're getting is silence. It's almost an eerily quiet house.
Do I like sense like unnaturally silent or just like
No, you sense the silence of there is nothing stirring here.
yeah. Val, there's nothing. There's no one here, Val.
But there was.
Clearly.
So now, Val, you're looking to try to see if you can find any sort of like trace of someone here. That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, just like, did they leave anything? Is there any hint of what they used in the attack? Like, what happened here?
So yeah, so I mean, just as a reminder too from the last session, one of the things you notice on the body is that there are 3 bullet holes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right in the chest.
Yep.
I'll mention just as you're kind of looking at this and you're thinking about this, the bullet holes are placed in a it's not a big spread, and it's aimed pretty much right at the heart. The person that shot knew what they were doing, and they shot to
Can
kill.
can I go to the body and kneel down beside it and pull out my knife and dig out the bullets to see if I recognize them?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Wait, did you explore and then come back to the room?
Yeah.
He was exploring while you guys were having your conversation.
Okay. And did Davina see anything with detect magic?
Oh, that's right. You cast detect magic in the house.
Before they get back?
I need to hold on. I need to just really quick remind myself the exact wording of detect magic.
I was like, I have it if you need it, but
Pulling it up right now.
I think I'll just cast Shatter, probably.
Always.
Blow it all to bits.
Just shatter it.
Jeez, that's for Jess. I think I'll cast Shatter.
This is an old house. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole house can shatter.
So you sense little tiny flickers of magic, and as you go and are looking at them, they seem to kind of be, excuse me, little trinkets, couple items that she's collected on her travel that are pretty weak in terms of their magic. There's like one that's kind of a school of illusion. There's one that's school of evocation, but that's pretty much it. And they're items that are fairly out in the open. A couple of them are on display on shelves.
Okay. But nothing from like the body or the bullets. It was a straight up gun.
No magic on the body, no magic on the bullets.
Okay.
Okay, so I should say too, Jasper, you're performing a little autopsy right here on the floor.
Yeah, man. I do not have time to deal with this bullshit. And if these bullets if these bullets are what I'm worried they might be, I have even less time.
All right. I'm going to ask
I make
for-
eyes with you, Davina.
Like we're both like watching him kneel over.
I think I'm trying to figure out. I think I want.
I'm not being delicate. I will carve the entire chest open if I have to.
Give me a medicine check because there is still. You still need to know what you're looking for and where you're going. If you just make a visceral mess of this, it's going to be hard to dig out bullets in a bloody pool in the dark.
And Sal is going to turn to Niall and say, "Yeah, close your eyes. Turn around. Close your eyes."
Niall, who has continued to be in a little bit of a shock, seems to wake up when you talk to him, and he looks at Jasper and he yells out, "What? No! What are you doing? What are you doing?"
I'm gonna get in between them, and I'm just gonna kind of like not push him away, but like just be like, get in the way for a minute. I'm gonna say we need to know what happened.
17.
And
I guess with a 17, it's pretty clean.
Yes. Yeah, 17. 17's good.
Like with the hatchet.
Yeah, because I have knives and daggers to make it a little bit more.
Well, I have my skinning knife.
Finesse.
Finesse.
So, Jasper, with Valterra holding Niall back, who is still, he has now entered a point where as he seems to be coming back to reality and realizing what's happening, he's also coming out of his shock. Tears are now falling down his face, and he is holding very, very closely to Valterra. But hearing basically you describe this as this, we need clues to what happened, seems to at least stop him from lashing out further. And all he can sort of do is just sit there in a helpless stupor as you lean over the body with the knife. You carefully, but like you said, forcefully, because you're a man on a mission, you go down, you carve through the hole, and you sort of wiggle your way down until using the tip of the knife to try to feel the difference between soft flesh and then the tip of your knife hits a hard surface. And you know this isn't bone, this is cold hard steel. You continue to work the knife, you reach in, you pull out a bullet. It's a bullet you are very familiar with.
Son of a bitch.
It is a bullet that is the exact bullet that came with the 6-shooter that you pulled off the guard when you left.
I'll have the bullet in my hands, and I will throw it across the room, and I'll just look back at Belle and say, "They're here."
Just real quick, as he was like performing that, I'm gonna have kind of put my arm around Niall and just like lead him kind of out of the room as this is happening. And I'm gonna put myself in the doorway so that I can still see Jasper, but keep him out of eyesight of his mom. Just to like, because that's a ridiculous thing to like have somebody watch. So
Yeah.
as he was doing it, I'll have let him out, but I always will maintain eyesight of Jasper while we're doing that. And as he kind of says that, I'll also just kind of like turn my back to him in the room and just kind of like instinctually just kind of like look out at the house again. I know we already swept it, but now I'm just kind of like in a little bit of a panic mode, but trying my best to kind of like keep my wits about me.
Sure.
And in seeing this, I think Sal is going to look at Davina and Elaine with wider eyes of like, these people have more information than they're letting on, and walk up to Jasper and say, Who is here?
I don't even know. All I know is they did this, and I don't know if they're here looking for me or if they're here for something else, but I know that we do not want to be here when they come. If they come back, I don't want to be a part of this.
Real quick, Theo, can you remind me, did Niall's description of, or maybe we haven't gotten to this yet, but did Niall's description of who he encountered up the mountain, does that match any of Jasper's description of the people that he had interacted with in captivity, or did we not try and make that comparison yet?
Well, so you guys were also not
We weren't
there
there.
when he was describing that. This was in the tavern when he was chatting with you.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we haven't like thought to it.
You guys have not sort of brought those pieces together.
Okay.
You
I
asked
think
him, and he was sort of stammering about a group, and then
Yeah.
nervously at the others about how much he should divulge.
So I think I will look back at Jasper and kind of look at Niall again and just kind of be like, I need you to describe to me everything you can about the people you were on the mountain with. Like, what did they look like? What did they wear? What did they talk like? Did they have an accent? Did they speak another language? All that kind of stuff.
Niall's his shoulders slink very far forward, and he kind of looks at Sal, and his eyes are just, there's sort of a sadness and a helplessness there. He has no choice, and he looks at you and he says, they might know who killed him.
Okay.
So he turns to you, Velterra, and he says, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, a group came into Scarport. I don't know how they got here. I mean, they're not local. None of them. You could tell. You could tell by the way that they talked, the way that they held themselves. Like I said, they felt like they were important people. You know? Not like us. So one of them, she found me at the rock. She was a dragonborn. She said that she heard I was the best guide in town to take people up into the mountains. She said she would pay a ton of money to help her and her group find a path up to the peaks, and I've been up there a few times myself. I've never gone up to the peaks, but I could at least get them there. So I told her, sure. A few days later, we met up just outside of town to head up into the mountains. It was her. She was I think gold or brass dragonborn. I don't know. It's hard to tell for sure. She had some real skinny, tall, blue guy. Seemed to be the leader, kind of like he was the one calling the shots. There was this other guy, maybe human, maybe an elf, maybe something different. It was hard to tell. He was covered in jackets, and he had a fur hat on his head. Then there was another silver-haired woman. Looks kind of like these two. She was real sure of herself.
Did they speak with an accent? Did they speak a different language?
Not a different language, but it sounded like they could have been from the Empire. And I know, Sal, I should have told you. I should have told you if it was, but I didn't think much of it.
Jasper,
No.
is any of this ring any bells for you?
I mean, I don't. Did they have any insignias? Was anyone wearing a uniform of some sort? I'll try and relay. I'll relay what I remember, like guards or anyone that I saw, um, what they were wearing, and see if any of that sparks anything for him.
So, you're how detailed are you looking to go here? Like, how much are you divulging right now within this company
Just
of people?
describing attire.
Okay. He pauses and he thinks, and he says, I mean, none of it. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember exactly what they were wearing, like the details of it. But
Did anyone have one of these? And I'll pull out my gun.
yeah,
Who?
the other man, the not the blue guy, the other one, and all the furs.
I can't be for sure, Val. I mean, other people have guns, but I know that those bullets in her chest, they're theirs.
Who's?
I
Right, and
I don't know.
you said they're maybe after you, not me, or this. That's great news.
They were
All right.
Don't get ahead of yourself, honey. They were here weeks before I even got here.
We don't know what or who they're after. We know whoever attacked us was after something on the way here. And it must be different because it obviously didn't find what it was looking for here. And it didn't seem to go after you, Jasper. So I think for now we need to get out of here and get somewhere very incognito very quickly.
Niall kind of pipes up in the background and he says, "Can't just leave her."
We won't. But we'll be no good to her. And we can't do anything for her if we're dead. Where can we go that nobody... Do I know anything in the city of like a place I can like kind of lay low that isn't associated with the captain or...
Or would I know of anywhere to go?
Yeah. Or would Davina have a contact?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of us would.
Yeah.
I would say Davina and Sal have a couple other contacts, but they are pretty connected to just the circle of folks here in the city. I will say Velterra, as someone who has frequented the city a good amount of times, you sort of rack your brain for a second and you think and you ask yourself a question and you say, where is one place in this city that nobody would think to look or bother to turn over? And then it kind of hits you and you say, there's one thing Scarport is not. It is not a religious city. But still, up in the northeastern corner, tucked away on the last little bit of real estate that Scarport afforded it, is the mission of St. Balasar. It is a church of the prelacy. It is on a shoestring budget with a couple of missionaries who run it, who think that people of Scarport are still worth saving.
Okay.
Potentially might be a place that would be willing to offer sanctuary.
All right. I will look at Niall. I'll tell him, take whatever you need from the house. We'll be back as soon as we know it's safe, but for now we need to leave.
Where are we going?
I'll tell you on the way, but we need to go as soon as possible.
Are they coming too? And he points to Davina, Sal, and Elaine.
I'm gonna nod yes, and then I'm gonna turn to Sal and Elaine, and I'm just gonna whisper and say, "Look, they obviously have dots that we need connecting. Let's stick with them until we get some answers, and then get the hell out of Dodge."
As
When he asked
soon
me,
as we have the answers.
when he asked me if
Not-
they're coming, I'll kind of look to the side and kind of to Vol, who I kind of use Vol as like my insight checks and like stuff like that. Like when I'm trying to like gauge somebody, I'll like talk to him. I'll be like, I don't know. What do you think? Can we trust him yet? So like nobody in particular. You guys just hear me like saying this to the side, like talking like out of the side of my mouth.
I think I've probably gotten in the habit of, even though I know he's talking to Vol, I'll answer so that no one else thinks he's insane.
Yeah.
I would like to do a perception check to see if I notice him talking to himself, because I noticed it before.
Well, real quick before you do that, so Valterra, you kind of whisper into the back of your head. You say, "What do you say? What do you think? Can we trust them yet?"
Yeah.
So again, that tickling, that itching sensation pops up again in the back of your skull. In this moment, it's actually a great relief. This house feels cold. It feels distant. And in that moment, there is the sort of spark that brings a little bit of warmth as you are reconnected with Vol. And his voice answers again, echoing within the back of your skull. We make weird friends. We are weird friends.
Just kind of accepting that for what it is. I'll look back to Niall. We'll bring everybody with us. But yeah, go ahead.
We want to go with you.
You guys don't get to leave until we figure out what the hell is going on. And I'll say that much less kindly than I said it to than I was just talking to Niall.
Yes, did you still want to do some sort of a perception check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what are you looking to perceive exactly?
If I see Vel talking to himself again.
Were you
Or
were you
if
hiding
Michael's.
it?
Not very well, no.
I was gonna say, I don't think he was trying to hide it.
I think Jasper tried to like play it off for his own sake of like, oh no, he
awesome, so I notice it.
I can't
Okay.
be with a crazy person.
I don't make
Yeah.
effort.
It's just a habit at this point.
Okay.
It's a bit.
So I'm gonna turn to my friends and say, first of all, he's talking to himself. I mean, we've all met weird people, but he's talking to himself. And both of them have some anger issues. And I know I have some anger issues, but I don't know. Okay. All right. Elaine, you never lie. You never lie. So what do you think of them? Give me your honest opinion of our two new friends.
Oh, this is
My honest opinion. I mean, I do like them. That one shoots extremely well. The other one is just kind of interesting to look at. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this.
I think Davina's in a little bit of shock hearing Elaine say this.
I just am trying to figure it out. I don't know. I like them. I don't mind them. I hate most people.
I know.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's the verdict. Let the men think they're in charge. Let's get our answers and get out of Dodge.
I like this.
Thank you. Because for a second I thought that you were actually listening to them, Davina, and I got like severely concerned about taking you out of the Empire, right? Like I know it's been a while since you've been out of town, but we gotta be a little bit more careful.
Oh, God, no. They're going to spill their
Okay.
secret soon enough. Don't worry about it.
Please. And we can tell they have plenty of secrets.
Are you guys done?
No.
No.
I really thought we were, but okay.
God, Elaine, I love you.
It's not,
Someone's
it's
in a
not a
bit of
don't
fucking
know.
joke. We have to go.
Yes. Between the two corpses, I don't think I can carry both. I can try, but perhaps the mother we take to the mission.
Yeah, let's
A
walk
place
through,
to rest.
let's walk
I haven't
through a
said-
city
Yes.
with a dead body on our back.
I also
I can be
definitely have not
subtle.
said where we're going yet. That I've kept to myself. for the
Oh,
time
my
being.
bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. But
Well,
I think we may need to leave the captain here for now. At least we know where she is. Anybody that's done anything, they would have already done it by now.
do
We can come back for her when we know it's safe and give her a
What
proper
about the-
send off.
What about the weird angel?
Yeah,
I'll
that
actually
one.
go check on that body.
Okay, so as this conversation is happening, first of all, Niall is sort of sitting there shaking his head, and he just says again, "I'm not leaving her."
Fine. You know what? We bring her. If anybody asks us why we have a dead body,
Is he
we're-
just sitting there on the floor?
We'll say it was you.
Sure. We're going to get it buried. You know? Someone's got to bury the body, and we need to take it to go get buried.
So Elaine, you want to go outside and check on the body? At the
Yeah, I
carriage
think it was in the carriage house. I want to go examine it. I want to see like has anything changed? Like I took the sword and so I still have that with me, but I'm like I don't know. I wasn't sure if it was wearing clothes. I was going to try to like rifle through it briefly and see like what is it? Like I know it's organic, but it came out of a lightning bolt. And so how? It's been a while since I've seen something as weird as me, you know? Like trying to figure out how this ticks. So
So I'll say first, Niall, hearing that you are all going to take his mother's body with you, kind of that sort of puts him again like at ease for a second. And he goes about starting to gather a couple little belongings of his in the house. Elaine, you go out to the carriage house. At this point, I'll say it's been maybe 20, 30 minutes since y'all had put it out there. You go out, you turn around into the sort of the opening of the carriage house. The body is still there. It is still dead. But
good.
you notice, yes, but you notice that it has slowly started to, this is a bad way to say it, but it's the only thing I can think of. You know how like in Endgame when the Thanos snap
Big
happens,
dust.
it turns to
Yeah.
dust, they slowly like
Uh-huh.
there is like a steady stream of this like black dust that is just slowly wafting off of this thing, and it spins up into the rain, into the thunder.
Great. One more body we don't have to bury.
This is really interesting to me, is the problem. I have a flask in my inventory that I do not use. It's just sort of a backup for Davina or Violet. Can I empty it out and try to catch some of this ash as it goes and flies away?
No, why is the rum gone?
I don't need it. This is more interesting.
Are we all there, or is it just? Did you just go outside? I guess is one of my questions.
I went on my own, but I'm not like trying to be stealthy. Open invite, I guess. So yeah.
Oh no, I think
if we're all trying to leave the house,
Yeah,
I'm with
I figured
you.
it
Yeah.
was kind of we were all leaving. And
We're all-
So if
Okay,
we leave, then I
Yeah.
would have probably gone, but also again stayed as far as I could towards just to keep an eye on kind of Nile, or at least an ear into the house. But
Yeah.
seeing you try to like capture this,
Mhm.
I'm gonna, and DM, you can tell me if this works the way I want it to or not. I'm gonna go over to the whatever's left of this thing, and I'm going to kind of grab it and grab the sigil around my neck, and I'm going to attempt to enter the vessel.
You're gonna attempt. So you're gonna attempt to enter the vessel.
And bring the body with me.
Right.
What is the vessel?
What?
Wait, what?
Pardon?
So
Excuse you?
Let me pull this up to make sure I understand how
Yeah, I don't know if
What?
it's that way.
vessel works. Yeah, y'all sit there and
The
you wonder.
vessel.
The vessel.
What do we see?
The vessel?
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
What's that mean? What's it mean?
Call me
What's it mean?
sweetheart one more time.
Sweetheart. Oh, did you miss it, sweetheart?
I'm like looking.
Okay. That's what you want to do. That's your course of action.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Okay. So everyone who is standing around, I will say first, Elaine, you have been able to gather.
Yeah, I would have waited until it was done. Yeah.
Okay.
Belterra leans down, puts a hand on the body of this creature, reaches underneath his cloak, pulls out an odd-looking stone. Within an instant, both him and the body disappear, and the stone drops to the ground.
Have I seen him do this before?
I don't know. Have you?
This isn't something I do very frequently. But I probably would have explained it to you as we began to know each other and trust each other. But I don't know if you've ever actually seen it live.
It's
But you
not,
know what it is.
okay. I'm not surprised, but I'm like,
Yeah.
that good idea.
But I don't use it much.
I just
No.
turned to Jasper. I'm like, what the fuck?
I don't
What
know,
just
man.
happened?
I don't know. You can just do it.
Why are you so cool with this? What just happened?
There's a lot of weird shit in this world. I don't know.
That's new. That's very new. Very
This
weird.
is
You're new.
this is interesting.
And as
Yes.
soon as I enter, I'll probably look around for Vol.
Yes. So as soon as you enter, first thing in this space, now half of this internal space is filled with this dark, shadowy creature that is slowly like kind of disintegrating little piece by piece. Instantly, what starts as a little spark hovering in the air seems to cascade upon itself until it takes a humanoid form. And there you see, standing in front of you, a creature of light, of energy, with a kind of dark, cavernous face that is very expressionless, but the voice that comes out of this creature is full of life, full of zeal. And Vol says to you, "You're here! You made it!" Instantly, his tone shifts, he looks down at the creature. This sort of hissing noise sort of ricochets inside of the space. And he jumps back and he pushes back against the space. And he says, "What is this?"
I don't know. Do you know?
The light of Vol's essence slowly leans forward. He seems hesitant. He takes a bright finger, and he reaches down and he touches the tip of the creature, and he pulls his finger back very, very rapidly, almost as if he's burned. And he looks at you, and again, there's not much emotion or expression that he's capable of, but there is a fear and an anger in his face. And he says, "Why have you brought this?"
We need to know what it is, and it started to just fade away on us. I was hoping if I brought it here, it would hold out a little bit longer. Maybe we could get some answers. But now, seeing your reaction, I mean, you were there during the fight. You saw what it did. What is it? You seem to have a reaction to it.
Now that I'm here, now that I can feel it outside of your senses, it was once something like me, but it's changed.
It's born of the quintessence, like you?
That's how it started. That is not how you found it.
No.
That is not how it sits now.
If I leave it here, will it corrupt you too?
No.
That's
I don't
not
like
a risk.
it.
That's not a risk I feel like taking, and I won't leave it here if you don't like it, Vol. But that's good to know your reaction to it.
The fear, the initial reaction that he had, he's had it, he's felt it, it seems to be moving. He now sort of leans over and he tilts his head curiously and looks down at it. And he says, "So sad. It used to be so bright."
Do you think this thing used to be like you?
It's hard to say. I can feel the same echo of life in it. But it's buried. It was hidden.
What did it? Do you know? Have you ever seen, like, on our travels, have you seen anything that could have done that?
No, never.
Okay. Does it still have the connection that you have?
No. It's lost.
As it's here, am I noticing that it's continuing to kind of decay?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for bringing this in here like this. This is your home. I intruded. I'm sorry. But I won't leave it here with you, and I appreciate what you were able to tell me. I'll try to come visit more in here with you. Again, sorry about that. But thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you for always being there.
Yes. I missed you.
I know. I wish I could stay. I can't. But hopefully we'll be back on a boat so soon.
I love the boat.
Yeah, that makes one of us. I'll kind of like fake nauseous at him. And then I will grab the body again and I will leave the vessel.
All right. So again, in what seems sort of like a blink of an eye, the rest of you are sitting there kind of staring at the stone, wondering what the hell's going on. With no cue, the stone leaps up off of the ground, and blinking back into existence is Velterra and the remains of this black shadowy creature.
I'll kind of like reemerge. I'll look over at Sal. Thank you. Not the point though. Also, while I was in there, I could hear their little like conversation of like what the hell was going on. While in the vessel, I can hear the surrounding area and I can see it, I think. Or
Yes,
just hear what's going on.
you're right.
It's
So I'll pop back out.
it's hard to surprise me, and that surprised me. Oh, what's a vessel?
That's
And
Bull's
actually,
home.
who are you?
That's where Bull lives.
Who is that?
Zol.
Who's that?
Is that your? Yeah, is that who you talk to when you need a little support and love?
Happy to get into this. Okay. This is not the time or place. I don't think we should be carrying this around with us, is what I'll say for now. And I think we should leave, and I will kind of, without really saying anything else, I'm going to go try and make sure that Niall's ready to go.
Okay.
Right, and we also think it's a good idea, which is the reason why we're coming along. Okay.
Good.
As he walks,
I'll kind of shout back good as I'm leaving.
yeah, Vel, as you're walking out, I'll be like, "Hey, maybe put her body in there."
Oh,
Wait,
I
Captain?
could.
No, I think you meant the captain.
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
thought you said solid.
I can't right now.
I
Just
can-
stuck her in there too.
For the captain's body, I can just take off my cloak and I'll wrap her in it. Like Divina, will you buy me a new cloak?
Of course, darling.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to use this on a corpse. And I just wrap her body in my cloak. It's probably much longer than she is, so it should cover her up enough for us to just sort of. I look like I'm carrying someone, like
Drunk.
And did the
yeah.
does the captain have any weapons on her still, or did we take them off of her body?
Come off of her body. I will say she has a saber. That was on her.
Okay. Before Elaine like picks her up, or I don't know how you're carrying her, Elaine, but before you
Oh yeah,
do,
like Princess Carrie.
Yeah. Sal's gonna take the saber off of her body, walk over to Niall, and say, "Revenge can be a sweet thing. Save this. Take it, so that you can use it on whoever did this to her."
He puts his hand around the hilt of the saber and he kind of looks at it and then he chuckles and he says, "You know, I used to always want one of these. She always said I was never ready."
Well, now you have to be.
Yeah. Well, ready. And he has his bag slung over his shoulder, slips the saber into his belt.
Okay.
Yeah, so once everybody's kind of like ready to go, I'll start leading us in the direction of the mission that I want to go to.
Okay. So, looking at the map of Scarport, y'all are in the Birth District, which is kind of the more slightly, I mean, if there is such a thing as an upscale residential area in Scarport, this is it. Luckily, you are all very close to the mission. So, Velterra, you lead the group through just a couple of the winding streets. I will say, as you are walking, you do notice that there are handfuls of groups of people scattered about the street. It seems that those lightning strikes, those violent strikes that hit not too long ago, was not just confined to you guys or your particular area. There are a few people strewn about that seem to be doing their own sort of form of cleanup. And as you are walking, you also see one additional slain black shadow creature.
Okay.
And there are a pair of folks that are working to basically cut pieces of this creature apart. They're plucking the feathers. They have to fight this thing. They're gonna make something of it.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
So you continue walking north, and then walk straight due east until you start to see it above some of the trees. There is a large stone cathedral. It is hardly the fanciest church any of you have seen, but it is built on a little bit of a hill. There's a couple of step hills that start to lead up into the base of one of the mountains here. It is not very prime real estate. It's rocky ground, and it seems that the mission was kind of given the short end of the stick, where if they were going to have to build somewhere, it was going to be here up on this shitty rocky hill. But regardless, they did build this cathedral that you see in front of you. There are a couple of other wooden and stone structures that seem to make up a couple of smaller residencies, maybe like an administrative building. And there is a modest stone fence that seems to be a little bit more decorative than necessarily protective that surrounds the mission. But you bring the party up to the entrance of that fence.
As we're kind of approaching, I'll just say to the rest of the group, I don't know about the rest of you, but anybody who's looking for me, this would be the last place they'd come.
Well, I can say the same. I would probably burn before I walk into a church.
Let's hope that's not the case, because we're going inside.
Why are we here?
I'm gonna go in and just like, is there like a large kind of like sanctuary area? Is it just like, is there a place that we can just kind of like hunker down and like collect ourselves without drawing much attention?
Yeah, so I will say, as you walk through into the courtyard, there's a very large courtyard, and basically what you see when you walk into the courtyard is the entrance, kind of the formal front entrance to the cathedral, and then a couple of those other buildings scattered about. And there's a cluster of folks there that seem to be gathering and kind of talking with each other. You see one figure in particular. It is a female tiefling with dark purple skin and long black hair, and she seems to be kind of issuing orders to others. And as you walk closer to her group, are you trying to approach them by any chance? Like, are you sort of seeking?
I would probably go up and talk to them if
Okay.
it feels like there's something kind of milling around doing something.
Yeah. So she's in white prelacy robes.
Okay.
Which sort of signifies her as a member of the church. And as you get closer, you can hear her talking to some of the other people in this group. They seem to be sort of lower level acolytes, potentially other missionaries. And she's saying, "Listen, the storm was brutal tonight. I'm hearing reports of damage in the city. If there's any chance for the mission to make its impact known here in the city, now is our time to do it. So go out there, find souls to help, and bring the good name of Saint Balasar to the people of Scarport."
I'll kind of approach and wait for her to be done with the group that she's conferring with. Just kind of standing off to the side until she's kind of finished with them. It sounds like she's kind of sending them off.
Yes.
So once she's kind of finished, I'll approach. And like, I definitely don't, I have my own thoughts about them, but I think I'm familiar with them. I'm good at pretending a fair amount. What would like her title be?
She would just be considered, if she was sort of the head of the mission, she would just be pastor.
Okay. So I'll address her as kind of pastor and walk up. I'll say, Pastor, I found some souls of my own while we were out in the storm. And I was hoping perhaps we could seek shelter here for a short time while we collect ourselves and they recover.
He turns around and sort of looks at you and says, "Oh, by the goodness of D&D refugees here at the mission. Well, first let me say, I am truly sorry for any troubles and hardships you've experienced this evening. This is unlike anything I've seen in my time here in Scarport. Forgive me. I'm Pastor Prudence. Welcome to the mission of St. Balasar. Is there anything in particular that you are in need of at this time?
A quiet space to rest, most at the moment.
Of course. Refuge, sanctuary.
Of course, Pastor.
Yes. Well, we just in preparation for this, she almost seems like slightly giddy that she gets the chance to play this role,
Yep.
while also trying to very much maintain the fact like, oh, I'm sorry. So
I'm sorry.
she says,
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. Feel better.
As always.
I'm
I'm just a baby.
just a baby.
I have the money. Just a baby.
Pay you in
Inside,
blocks.
inside, Belle sounds like this.
Big box.
But outside is he's hamming it up with her.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and Sal is trying so hard to have to keep her face.
To keep her face.
Just to keep
Yeah.
Just to
her
keep
face.
it.
Just to keep
To
it.
Just
keep her
keeping
face
it.
cordial, like to keep it to hide her disdain.
Yeah, Jasper's gonna be by the entrance, kind of keeping an eye out.
So
But
Pastor Prudence, in kind of hearing what you say, Belterra, she says, well, it just so happens I have set up a few cots in the nave that might be to your liking. I apologize, and that it's not the most luxurious accommodations, but hopefully it will give you a place to gather yourselves after the trauma of this evening.
Real quick, do I know what the captain's kind of religious leanings were?
She was always very aloof. It seemed like she almost made it a priority to avoid talking about it any chance she could.
Okay. I'm not going to bring up the fact that we have her then.
Yeah.
To this.
I'm just carrying her.
Well, I will say, before you can even do that, Niall will speak up.
I do wince just a bit when I hear his voice behind me.
God damn it.
So he sort of peeks out
Cool,
behind
man.
you, and he says, Pastor Prudence? And she kind of looks, and she hadn't even noticed him at first, and she goes, Niall Arson, is that you? Never thought I would have seen you up in this corner. You don't seem like the highest type, but I'm... What? Yes, how did you... What? And she's sort of like speechless seeing him here. And he kind of hangs his head a little bit, and he says, Pastor, would you join me in a prayer inside? And she says, oh, yes, of course. And he looks at you, Elaine. And he asks you very kind of gently, like, will you join us? Will you bring her?
Davina, may I go?
Sure.
Yes. I'll stay with you.
We'll stay together, Davina.
Yes, agreed.
We'll go together.
So you all entering the
Mm-hmm.
sanctuary of the cathedral,
Yeah.
the chapel?
I'll probably
Yeah.
stay back towards the back with Jasper and kind of let them walk up and do their thing and stay kind of in the vicinity, but very much kind of keeping us separate.
I am very much sentinel mode, keeping an eye out, looking for any sign of peeper.
And
we'll give them this moment and just kind of keep up.
I think I trust like Violet and the others to be, guard dogging enough for me to sort of like fall back into my programming and like fulfill this part. So
So just to recap, Davina and Sal are going with Elaine and Niall inside.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct.
We're going inside, but like I imagine there's a kind of large area in there. We're gonna stay towards the back of it.
I'm not inside. I am basically
Okay.
at the equivalent of the gates.
Oh, okay.
Like
Mhm.
I'm keeping like I'm looking outside, seeing who is and is not approaching.
Mm.
And then I'm keeping just so we're kind of like creating a relay of like I can see
Yeah. We all see the next person on the way to
Jasper
the
and then
exit.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, and I
The
I
beacon
think
is
once
lit.
the beacon is lit. Once the beacons of Gondor. Once Sal realizes that the pastor was sort of having the dual emotions of like, it's a tragedy, but I'm so happy to be helping. It's a tragedy, but I'm so happy to be helping. I'm gonna put on a little bit more of a show. So I'm gonna let like some tears trickle down my face, and just
I think Davina
I
like
a-
side eyes
I
you
like
and
a-
it's like, what the heck? And then like the realization
I-
dawns, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I
God's
give you a
not
little
acting.
wink. Yeah, and then I just look a little bit more frazzled. I look a little bit more upset, and I'm just I'm looking at the pastors like it was terrible. And I,
Davina's trying to help out, and she like puts a hand on Niall's shoulder. It's just sorrows, prayers.
Real quick, Violet, make a deception check.
I'm gonna help her out
Yes,
as much
with
as I
advantage.
can.
If it isn't the consequences of my own
My own
actions.
actions.
Great.
You get advantage. You get advantage.
Okay. That is deception. That's a 17,
Okay.
which
So
was really
Pastor
good because my
Prudence-
first roll was a 1. So thanks for the advantage.
Pastor
Thank you,
Prudence sort of
advantage.
seems to be again like caught off guard from there. She's like, "Oh, my child, what have you endured this evening?"
Terrible. Oh, Pastor. Oh, so happy that you could save us to help us today. And I'm just gonna like break down into sobs. No more.
I'm gonna nudge Elaine and just like give her like a little like zip it.
Niles look at her so suspiciously, briefly at Sal, but kind of just
Sal is like melodramaing and like his literal mother is dead.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
and he's gonna look at the pastor and say, "Pastor, it's Mom," and he'll gesture to you, Elaine. At this point, you guys have sort of reached the front of the chapel. There's an altar at the front as well as a pulpit. I'm gonna say, Elaine, do you mind?
No, absolutely. And I'll lay her down and unwrap the body enough for the pastor to see. Just like to get her face uncovered, cover up all the nasty wounds.
Oh, that's right, because you guys played Operation.
Because she's been dissected, so yeah.
Yeah.
As you do so, and the face comes into view, there's a change in Pastor Prudence. What was sort of this kind of not showy sounds a little harsh, but she was kind of in her own sort of world in her own moment. It starts to melt away, and she looks down, and she kind of puts her hand over her heart, and she says, "Oh Lord, oh no, of all the people in this town." I asked what happened.
I look to Niall.
He looks straight down at the ground. He can't even make eye contact with the pastor. And he says, We don't know. We were on
I
our
just
way.
put a hand on his shoulder and I just say consequences. That's what happened.
His shoulders tense up a little bit at those words.
I
And
say
then
it's
kind
nobody's fault, but it was the result of consequences.
that seems to placate him a little bit, and he kind of nods and he just says, "She was shot in our home. We don't know who did it. We found her like this." And the pastor kind of looks down, and then she stands, she walks over to Niall, puts a hand on his shoulder, and says, "Niall, I hope you know there aren't many people in this city who show kindness and grace to those of the mission, but your mother always treated us with the most respect. I hope you know that the people of this city loved her. She had an impact on all of us." And then she kind of steps back for a second, and she says, "Niall and your friend, would you like the chance to talk with her briefly again?"
Yes, it would help.
Yeah, we like nod at him. We're like, yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Closure now. Get the closure that you need.
Normally we reserve this for...
Niall's gonna ask the stupidest fucking questions.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh dear.
how does this work again? He gets 3 questions.
So,
5 questions?
He will tell you.
10.
the pastor says, "Hold on one second. I'll be right back." And she goes into sort of this back area. She seems to be rummaging through some things. And Niall stands there with his eyes wide. Like, what do I say?
Niall, look at me. Look at me. Look at me right here. This is going to be very, very, very hard for you. But if you want to avenge your mother, you need to ask the right questions. Understood?
I don't know if I can do this. Can one of you do it?
Do you truly want one of us to do it? You don't want to have last words with her at all?
We can split the questions.
I can't do it. I can't ask my own mother how she died.
Then one of us will, and you can ask whatever it is on the last 1 or 2, however many we have. If there is something we can spare, then you can take the last ones.
Okay.
Would that work? Okay.
Okay, we'll be right here with you.
I looked at
Pastor.
Dev.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I looked at Dev just as like a nod that you're going to be the one asking the questions.
Oh, okay.
The pastor comes running back out. She's carrying in her hands this a kind of bundle of some herbs and some other sort of aromatics. She places them down. She takes a match and she strikes it and she brings it down and lights the little bundle. It starts to smoke, and this gentle wafting smoke comes out. It's a very sweet smelling incense. And she says, "Well, Arison, your time is not yet finished. Come back to us. We have need of you still. And as she waves her hands, a greenish light envelops them, and the captain's corpse begins to glow on the altar. And where she was limp and sort of ragged, her head straightens slowly, and where Sal had closed her eyes previously, they slowly open, and pools of dark green light rest there as the spell, Speak with Dead, brings new animation to her corpse. And the pastor then turns to you all and says, "We have 5 questions with him."
Thank you.
Thanks.
Captain, what happened in the last hour of your life?
Ready to the spell?
That's a good
I'm
one.
trying to see if there's
Good
like,
one.
word,
Hey,
do I have
hey,
a word
hey.
count or anything, but I don't think I do.
Boop, boop, boop.
So the captain's body lays there, and she says, "Hold on, I'm just going to do this. It's like, hold on. Okay, she says,
Yes.
This is so cool.
okay.
Bitch, you did.
So the question was, what were you doing in the last hour of your life? Is that what you said? Or what happened?
What were you?
What happened?
What were you doing? What happened?
Okay. She says, was cleaning up loose ends, found invader, shot, nothing.
May you describe the invader to me?
Tall, slender, elf. Young
What was the last
man,
one? Sorry.
elf.
Okay.
Young man with sadness.
Then she goes quiet again. Was it? What loose ends were you cleaning up?
Worried about evidence from previous journeys. Had to ensure they didn't find her.
Two
I just look
more.
at Sal.
I,
No, we have,
Uh,
we have two. We have two more.
Two more, yeah.
why? I look at Deb and sort of look to you to see if I can come in to ask a
only.
question.
Yeah.
I'll also say, Sal, you have a psychic ability to make it up.
I can use because I already used it twice last time.
Oh,
And
okay.
an hour has passed. Let me just
Okay.
check. Let me just check. Dun dun dun. 1 second.
I have so many.
I still have some energy dice that I can use. So I'm gonna use 2 more. And roll. Let me just make sure that that's the right. Sorry. New features and traits.
Forgot to switch over the music. You're in the chapel now.
No.
Ah! Yeah. Okay. Let me roll a d6.
Miss Keisha. Miss
So
Keisha.
So what is this
for
doing?
5 hours, we can talk telepathically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let me just. That is my.
This is spoopy.
Yeah, I only had one left. Yeah, I only had one left, so that was it. I can use one to do that. So that was my last one for this long rest. So we can talk
Okay.
for 5 hours telepathically.
Thank God. Like,
Yeah,
you just hear me
okay.
say, thank the gods.
Okay, Dev, you're doing great. This was great. What the fuck? This is weird. Well,
Do I
you have
ask
2 more
about
questions?
her? Do I ask about the journey, or do I ask about...
I think we want to ask her if, like, why do you think you were killed?
if there was any... I'm worried that that's too open-ended. With the line of work that she's in, there could be so many things she could say.
Could it, okay, or if she knew who the killer was, if she recognized him, I think that would be good for us to know. And then that way we can use her contacts, connections, or maybe even Niall knows them. So maybe ask.
Okay. Did you know?
Did
Did you know? And then what's the last question? Or wait and see. We'll wait and see.
Well, we can wait and see.
Okay. Okay, so then out loud I ask her, did you know your killer?
No. Had not met him before, but knew he would be coming.
Oh.
Okay, telepathic link. She knew that he would be coming, and she's trying to clean up all these loose ends.
I think we have to just ask her why she knew he was coming.
I think yeah.
That's it. That's all we get.
Okay, this is our last question.
Okay.
And we looked at, and then I'm going to say in your head, this leaves Niall with no more questions, but I think this is more important than anything that he could ask her.
Agreed.
Did you
Agreed.
really love me, Mom?
Oh my gosh.
Was I a massive disappointment? Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Oh, dark. Okay, I look to Deb and say, okay, this is our final question. Let's ask it.
Okay. And out loud I say, why was he coming to kill you?
Cover had been blown. The cardinal warned me.
Wow. Okay. And that's it.
Cardinal.
And with that, the green energy that had given some renewed vigor to the captain's body slowly starts to seep out until she once again returns the limp form.
Is Niall standing there with us, or did we go to, like...
He's standing there with you.
Okay. Niall, are you okay?
He nods. Yeah, I thought it was because of me.
No. And that's why I said consequences. And that it was no one's fault, but there are consequences for everything we do in life now. Even your mother.
Do you think there's a connection between the people that I brought into the mountains and whatever she was dealing with?
If there is, that would be a hell of a coincidence, but honestly, at this point, I'm not overlooking anything. We're going to figure this out, Niall. We're going to help you figure this out. Not just because whatever that feather and the crux is that you found is very clearly dangerous, but this is a lot bigger than any of us ever imagined.
Yeah, well,
Did you learn your lesson with those sticky fingers is what I'm trying to ask.
a slight little smirk comes on his face, the first little smile that you've seen.
There he is.
And he says, yeah.
Okay, good. Now don't make me cheer you up again because I don't like emotions and I will not be doing that again.
During
What?
that, probably didn't catch any of it myself, so it's up to you guys how much you want to fill us in later. But I will go to Jasper as they're kind of doing their own thing with Niall, and just relay everything that happened when I was in the vessel with Vol.
Great. More shit to add onto this massive shit pile.
Yeah, it seems whatever those things were, and I pluralize it because I'm sure you saw as we
there
were
were more of
walking.
them, yeah.
There seems to be more of them. They must have been something like a Cruxborn at some point, born from I think the
Yeah,
quintessence or the wilds.
I guess.
But then corrupted somehow, maybe? I don't know. He didn't seem to like them though. And he likes
Most
a lot of
things,
stuff.
it seems.
He
Yeah.
likes almost everything he comes across. It's all brand new to him.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. It's kind of cute. But
Pretty amiable guy.
yeah.
Thing?
Sure. Whatever. I mean, But
They? I
yeah,
don't know.
he had a pretty visceral reaction to it, so that's slightly concerning.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I've been trying to learn more about all this anyway, but I don't know. If we encounter any more, I might pay closer attention. Just something to keep in mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll. For the sake of your curiosity, or actually, in spite of your curiosity, I really hope we don't. But I have a feeling that these things are connected. Otherwise, this is just a really shitty day.
Well, we've had our fair share of those, haven't we?
Yeah, but we weren't attacked by an angel?
I couldn't begin to tell you. They seem to be having a private moment in there though, so I'm gonna stay out here with you for a few more minutes. How's the coast? Everything clear?
Yeah, not seeing anything. Yeah, I really hope we don't see them. But what the fuck are we gonna do now? Like,
Once they're done in there, we can collect ourselves and figure out next steps. Maybe, I don't know, do we track down whoever did this? The captain was our only kind
no.
of ticket out of here,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but like, what is solving her murder gonna do? Like, I know you're friends with her, but to be quite honest, I'm now farther from home than when I started, and with no clear way to get back now that we don't have a ship. So,
But clearly, whoever did this is related to what happened to you.
yeah, and I don't want
And
any part of it.
we may not have a choice. They're
Well,
here in Scarport, and if they know you're here,
wait, we don't know that.
we
We don't know
we
that.
don't. And I hope we can prevent them from knowing you're
Yeah, but
here
the
or
more
ever
we look
seeing them again.
into it, the more likely it is that they know
I
I'm here.
I would rather see them coming than have them at our backs.
Like, strategically, I know you're right, but like,
I know.
also, fuck that noise.
Vol and
So,
I promise to get you home. We will get you home. But maybe we're not quite finished here in Scarport yet, is all I'm saying. Just think about it. Keep an open mind. We're not doing anything tonight.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just.
But I owe more to you than anybody else here. If you leave, I'll go with you.
I'm not just gonna leave, but like, I don't know.
Think on it.
Does that
Well,
little twit now own her ship?
that's a great question. I don't know. I may also want to see if Colton's still alive anywhere here in Scarport. He would be our next person to talk to, I think. At the very least, we owe him news about the captain.
Yeah. You seem nice.
But
Well,
let's talk to them and see. They seem to be conversing in there. Maybe they've come up with some new information. I don't know. We'll talk to them when they're done, and we can go from there.
you talk to the kid, because I just can't.
Yeah, I got him. Don't worry.
While they're
And
doing
we'll
that,
continue small talk until you guys are finished in there.
all right. I'm gonna turn to Niall now that this is all done and he's like in a bit of a somewhat better mood considering the circumstances, and just say, "Look, Niall, you've brought these other two guys in. You clearly know one of them well. What is your history with them?"
Well, Valterra, the Ganassi, he was one of my favorites. I
Okay.
think she thought of him like a son.
So he worked for your mother. She trusts him.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
he never, worked on her ship or anything like that, but he would help her out whenever he was in town. And Ganassis tend to stick together. We're not always the most revered group in Zholmyr, but she was always good to him, and he was always helpful to her whenever he was in town. And I mean, it's nice to me too.
And the other?
Yeah, him I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
If Belle's with him, then can't be all bad.
Hmm. All right, ladies, how much are we sharing with them?
I don't know.
I think if we, I guess if we want them sticking around, we should probably tell them everything.
You can't be serious. The
It's
feather,
really
that
hard
is
for me to say it.
incredibly powerful.
They already know. Elaine already told them about the feather. I'm not saying like
Okay, maybe we just
that
don't.
I have the feather. Let's not tell them I have it, Niall. I look at Niall. Let's not tell them I have it.
Let's just use it as coincidence. Say we picked up the feather from Nile for the job, and then all the shit went down after. So it's something to do with the feather.
Yeah, okay. Another feather, I don't know, is somewhere safe, but
Okay,
we have to start building some sort of rapport with them
I agree.
if we're stuck with them.
We can't get anything from them if we don't give them anything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna head out. Is everyone joining me to talk to the boys?
Was the pastor there the whole time after she cast the spell?
Or actually, it depends. Would you have asked her to leave after she cast it?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Then, out of respect for Niall, especially, she would have left.
Great.
You just see her like head like over the shoulder, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Behind the pulpit, y'all turn back in the church.
It's the most that's happened
As
in
we walk
this
out the-
mission in a long time. She's like that fucking like the like door lady from White Christmas who's just like listening on phone calls and completely mishearing information.
Oh my gosh.
What a reference.
What? Yeah.
It's a great
Niche.
reference.
It's excellent.
Oh.
Yeah, I like Elaine doesn't entirely trust herself not to just immediately spill all the beans if asked directly.
That's why I think we both
So-
talked about you not saying anything.
Yes. So, I like I'll actually offer like Sal Divina. I could stay here with Niall for a bit. I actually I remember some ceremonies. Maybe I could stick with Niall, and
That would be great, Elaine, and maybe get a spot set up for us for a rest for the night afterwards.
Absolutely. I'll make sure it's safe before you go in. But yes, I'll talk to the pastor and see what the quarters are like.
And
Appreciated.
keep your ears. Just keep.
You can say ears.
Keep an
Just
ear
say
out.
ears. It's easy.
Keep an ear out for anything unusual as you typically explain.
Keep your auditory receptive sensors.
Yes. Just call it an ear, please.
You
Spare
have.
me. Yes.
All right. So then Sal and I head out to talk to the boys and give them all that happened with the captain and what we did and what we found.
Do we actually want to say it, Dev, so that we choose what we're saying? Like,
I think
rather
so.
than telling everything.
So are they together?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm saying that to you in your head because we still have that telepathic link.
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's head out. We find them.
Okay.
We'll turn towards you guys as you guys approach, kind of as if waiting for you guys to be done.
Okay. God, I don't even know where to start with all of this. Look, I'm not going to say any of this was coincidence because clearly there's some dots here that haven't been connected and we just haven't figured it out yet. But Pastor was able to help us get some answers from the captain. And we know that she knew that someone was out to get her. We know that it was an elf man, is what she said, and a young man.
It was like a human
Yeah,
born.
he was elf.
Yes, an elf.
I think.
And this all started.
And he was
What was that, Tal?
Oh, I was just gonna say that he was younger. We got a specific description. He was a young man, slender, tall, and that he was apparently very sad.
So not the guys that Niall took up the mountain?
It doesn't
No.
sound like it, but I'm not going to say it's not connected because we did come here to collect an item, the feather from Niall, and then all of this happened after. So if it's not connected, it would be insane circumstance. But we're sharing this with you because we know that there's some information that you guys have on your side. You must, based on how you reacted when everything happened with Niall. And we're extending an olive branch to try to get some answers.
So she knew, or she didn't know who it was that killed her. She gave you a description, though.
She gave us a description, but she also knew that they were coming for her. She was warned.
Warned by whom?
A cardinal. She didn't say who, just a cardinal. That her cover had been blown and the cardinal warned her.
Mm-hmm.
DM, does
And
any of this, like, in any of my interactions with the captain in the past, does this, like, is there anything that I would have picked up on that, like, this is kind of triggering anything, or is this just, like, all new to me?
Would I?
Is the term cardinal something I would be familiar
Are we
with?
thinking like religious cardinal?
Mm-hmm. That's
what I was thinking.
But we don't.
That's
But
what
I
I was
don't know.
thinking as well.
You don't know.
Okay.
No.
She had a cover, is what I'm understanding,
Yeah.
and it was somehow blown, and so somebody was coming to kill her, and it was apparently obviously successful. That's what we understand so far, correct?
Correct. That's what we got from her.
And you all had a feather. heard something about a feather. I know nothing about any feather. I don't think, because you guys didn't tell us about that, right? That was
I
nice.
think
No.
Elaine.
Elaine let it
meant-
flip.
Elaine let it
I
Oh,
said something
that's
about a,
different.
a
Okay.
feather,
Yeah. Just that
Okay.
but you
Niall
don't know
had,
the history of it.
yeah, just that Niall had given it to us. That's what we were in town for.
So there was a feather, and we think the feather's connected, but we don't know. And we don't know anything
Well,
about the feather. That's what
I
I
think
understand.
we have there's Feather, Angel Dude, Niles guys. Then there's Her Dead, Captain Dead, those guys. We don't know if those two things are linked.
Correct.
So that's where we're at.
But it seems like it would
But-
be a major coincidence, right? That
If they weren't, correct.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys
Okay.
with guns. Yeah, that seems.
We also, yeah. It also seems like the captain. I mean, Dev and I didn't know her really well, but that she was wrapped up in some of her own business of some kind. That she mentioned that she had some evidence she was trying to hide, and that she seems to be protecting someone, right, Dev? Like she said something along the lines of,
So they couldn't find her.
find her. And so there is
She was cleaning
going on.
Cleaning up previous evidence from from the last journey so that they couldn't find her. That's all we got.
If the captain was wrapped up in anything, I'm sure she was trying to help whoever this her was or is.
Okay.
I refuse to believe she was into anything nefarious.
Oh, I wouldn't judge either way. That's how the world goes round.
But finding out who this her is might be important. As far as us, they seem to be suggesting an olive branch of sorts. Unfortunately, I don't have much on this. We came into town in search of the captain so that she could perhaps give us a ride. Honestly, that's the end of it. We were looking for passage on her ship.
Yep.
Beyond
Which-
that,
Niall.
Niall is back with Elaine.
Oh,
No.
Well, there's more than one ship around these parts.
Yes, and I do intend to seek out another, but that's not the point right now. I think we need to find out what she was into. Her cover was blown. I don't know what that has to do with anything. What's this feather you guys have? Can we see it?
I look at Sal. Do you?
I look at Dev. Well, yeah.
Do we?
I mean, I said that maybe this is what we hold back. I mean, this is more than an olive branch. If we show this to them, what if they want to capitalize on it? Right now, we're the only people who know about this and its power. Do we want to share that knowledge with others at this?
I'm just kind of looking at Jasper and then like back at them.
dude, I don't know.
Dev, if we do this, we're trusting them.
I know.
Elaine
It has so much power. And I'm worried about he's got some kind of magic. If he touches that feather and something happens like what happened to you, what do we tell him?
I think they're gonna find. I think they're gonna find out about it anyway, Dev.
Do we make it clear that it's our feather and let them look at it?
We definitely, yes.
Okay.
Hey, I don't want to be weird. You guys have been quiet for a really long time.
You guys are just like you guys are just looking at each other.
Listen, I think you might have something talking to you in your head. I happen to have people in their heads. Same old, same thing.
Well, care to share with the class?
And
I just
you
nod.
see
I just nod
Sal.
at her.
You see Sal reach down into her vest, and in like a little hidden pocket, she brings out this golden feather. But as she brings it out, she's very hesitant. And also, I would have looked around to make sure there's no one around us. So we're in a private place, no one can see us. And if that's not the case, then I want to go somewhere a little bit more.
You are pretty much alone at this point.
Okay.
Perhaps not surprisingly, nobody else in Scarport, their first reaction was not to seek refuge at the mission. So the rest of the acolytes have gone out into the city, and the pastor has since left, and she's doing her own thing while Elaine is with Niall. So, but also a question for you, Belle: how are you removing the feather?
Me?
I'm sorry, Violet. Sorry, there's so
Oh,
many
okay.
bees.
I was gonna say.
Davina, Violet, there's so many bees. Are you touching it? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I had a glove on before, but I think.
Oh yeah, do you forget and pull it out?
Yeah, I forget and pull it out.
Okay. So you reach in to pull out the feather to show him, right? As you reach your hand behind to grasp it, you touch it again with your bare hands. And again, you cease to exist. You are nothing. You are floating in this black void, this dark, cold, emptiness. And two large eyes appear in the darkness. And they stare at you, and a deep, deep voice whispers to you, "My child."
Who sees?
My slave.
My what?
My slave. The time will come when I need you. It is not now. Meanwhile, as this is happening, when that contact is made, Velterra, in the back of your head, Vol begins to scream. And he's screaming over and over and over again. "Stop her! Bring her back! Stop her! Stop her! Bring her back! Stop her!" And instinctively you reach, it's almost like you have lost control of your limb. Through the sheer will of Vol, your hand reaches out and yanks her hand up. This is the first time this has ever happened since the accident that you had with Vol. You have melded in a place that has been foreign to you up until now. He essentially uses your body to reach down, yank her hand away, and Violet, you are returned back into yourself.
Does the feather kind of drop to the floor?
And slowly wafting down, the feather drops.
I'll kind of jump
Violet,
back away from it as it falls down to the ground.
I
reach down and grab it I look at Sal and I'm like, oh, forgot about that, didn't we?
We never did. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, it's so.
Wait, you
Deb, I'm telling you, you have got to experience this. You have. I really wish you could experience it.
Don't ever do that again.
Sal is such a freak.
I'll just kind of look at her and like no like jovial attitude, nothing, just like very flat. I will look at her and I'll say, "Don't ever do that again."
What do you know?
What do what? Touch that? It's just a
I
feather.
don't know where you went.
That's what everyone keeps telling me.
I don't know where you went, but you don't want to be there.
Oh dear, you've told her something to do, and now she's going to go and do the opposite.
Great, now we have 2 petulant children.
Well,
I have mentioned Vol once before. He has a connection with these things. I can't explain it. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what you experienced. But I can promise you it was dangerous, I guess, in the nicest way to put it.
I look at Deb and just like,
I just
let's just say
speak
that
and just say we'll talk later.
we definitely need to talk later. Wow.
Is the feather on the
Let's
ground
just
or
say that.
No, I think it's in my
Did you
hand.
have
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to continue carrying the feather, if that's okay. But I'm going to put my gloves on this time and say, like, Dev, I can keep it safe.
I'll look at you, Dev.
Yes.
I'll say, if you care for her at all, do not give it back to her right now.
I can carry it for a little bit, Mr. Frodo.
But
I can't carry you!
you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hesitant on giving it back after all of this, because I don't think I realized like how serious it was when we first met Niall and you touched it, and seeing all this go down. I think I'm gonna hold on to it, but I do say I'll talk to you about it later.
And I'm gonna say in your head, I'm like, do you believe me now?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to suggest that we take this to wherever we're going to be resting for the evening, and perhaps talk about this with Niall and your. I feel like we haven't touched on it yet. Your very strange automaton companion.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah, would love to learn more about everything that she is. I'm sorry. She. But perhaps we should go and sit for a moment. Let's get out of this courtyard.
Agreed.
And yeah, and I'll just suggest that we head in towards the rest of it, whoever's set up in there, and kind of sit for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Once we're in there, though, I'll kind of sit you all down, and I'll say, you asked about what happened back at the house. I left for a moment. I came back. I told you I'd explain it later. It's later. And I think it might help put some context into whatever's going on with this feather.
Real quick.
Yep.
Elaine, did you have something specifically that you wanted to do with Niall, or was it more like generally just to remove yourself from that?
Yeah, I wanted to use my last spell slot to I prepared ceremony. And one of ceremony's things is a funeral rite. So I can touch one corpse, and for the next 7 days, the target can't become undead by any means short of a wish spell. And so I'm just like, I've seen some weird stuff today. And so I mostly wanted to do this kind of as like protection, and also for like just to give Niall the closure that we didn't with the questions. So like Elaine feels very like odd in a place like this, where it's like kind of like a home that you haven't been in for several years, It's like this is owned by someone else, but she's like, I know these stairs, I know which one creaks, I know, that outside of the kitchen window there is like a tree in this specific spot. But it's just different. But she kind of falls back into this old programming of like things are familiar but odd.
Okay. So you do that. You cast this spell over the captain. And when you do so, it's strange. It's almost like she hasn't moved, she hasn't changed, she hasn't shifted, but somehow, where before she was this sort of limp kind of rag doll, this sort of sad husk of a person, now she is this peaceful echo of the person that she was, that is now sitting on this altar in what looks to be a sort of restful slumber. And there is a gentleness to her that was not there previously. Niall watches this, and he sees it himself, this sort of shift happen in front of his eyes. And it's like the tension from this whole evening finally has an outlet to escape for him. He lets himself sink to the ground. Silent tears fall down his face. He takes a couple moments, and he stands up and he turns and looks at you and just says, "Thank you. That means more than you could ever know."
It is what should happen. It is
And
what should be done.
even within your automaton being, this mechanical, automated structure of yourself, the pieces of holy energy and divine energy that are within you start to feel just a little bit warmer. They give you a little bit more of a sense of feeling, something that comes and goes with you, but every time it does, it feels just a smidge brighter. And with that, I am giving out the first point of inspiration. For the
Oh, hey! All right. Oh my gosh. Excellent. Thank you.
And so I would imagine after that, you would probably go seek out your companions.
Yeah, if Niall doesn't come with me, I want to make sure that the pastor stays with him. Just, he's been through a lot. And I'm partially worried that he will get himself killed. But yeah, then I'll go look at the accommodations and do a quick scan of the room, make sure everything is safe. And I'll go into like sentry mode outside the door. I don't need to like sleep. I'm kind of just aware of everything. So it just looks like there is a suit of armor outside of the door of this bedroom. Just holding her sword and waiting for her compatriots. Yeah.
Because I was wondering if you, because Belle, is this like, as you were about to have this conversation, were you trying to have it with the whole group? Like, would you go seek out Elaine, or are you okay having it just in this more protected area with the folks that you already chat with?
Kind of up to the other two that are here if they want her to be a part of it or not, I think. My read of the situation is that as an automaton, she's kind of, I guess, my assumption of automaton at this point is that
you can have assumptions.
So it's up to
Just
them.
voice them.
And what she does.
I'll look at Deb and say, we need our friend here for any further explanations.
You can also go join her too in the quarters.
Mm-hmm. Like the spell funeral like takes an hour, and so like if you guys were doing stuff for an hour, you'd be able to meet up with me after that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That we would find you still awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, assuming we kind of reconvene in the quarters and with Elaine and Nile and all that. I will say, yes. So earlier, what do you all know about Cruxborn?
Minimal.
Would I be familiar with Cruxborn from my travels?
You are all aware of their existence. They are extremely rare to find. They are a little bit more in the Delesian Empire. They're a little bit more kind of like seen as an interesting novelty, whereas in other parts of the world they're seen as like dangerous creatures. But they are essentially the after effects, the impacts of meddling with Crux. Sometimes it happens in the Crux extraction process. Sometimes it happens in the refinement process. Sometimes it happens just in other general magics. And these creatures are far and few between, and they usually don't amount to much because they have very, very short lifespans. They kind of spark into existence and then fade out relatively quickly. That's about all you know.
Well, I'll kind of ask, like, what do you all know about Cruxborn?
Very little. They're
And
fascinating.
Good.
mhm.
Throw all that out the
I think
window.
they're-
Okay? None of that matters. We don't know anything about Cruxborn.
Well,
So, I
looked at Dev and be like, well, one of us here is very familiar with Crux.
With Crux.
And perhaps
not necessarily Crux.
Well, with Crux and perhaps what happens when you meddle with it, right? Like I think, okay, above game, would you know from like your dad being involved in it, like know a little bit more than the rest of us, or no?
Well, not
I guess
only
it
that,
might be
but
important.
with the incident with my arms, I'm very like not sure of Riftwalkers and Cruxborn. Like I would rather leave them to do their own devices, and I'm not really trusting of them. So I know enough that I don't like them.
Okay.
interesting. I obviously don't know any of that, but so I had a bit of a interaction, I guess, with Crux, and it spawned a Cruxborn. Not the weirdest thing in the world, though maybe up there. They're pretty weird, pretty rare. Then fast forward, some sort of accident happened. It's a bit of a blur still. Jasper's helping me figure all that out still. But the Cruxborn, right? Name's Vol, by the way. He and I fused, I guess, connected in a way. I can kind of talk to him still. You may kind of hear me refer to him from time to time. I went to visit him for that moment when I disappeared. It's kind of where he lives. I went to go see him. Yeah, so he's kind of just like my other half at the moment. I don't really know how or why it happened. I'm happy to have him. He's a good companion and he's helpful and he's nice. But anyway, that's who I was talking to. That was my friend. And yeah, I guess that's the other half of the olive branch, really. You guys want to know a little more about that? So
wait, so
there
please
it is.
don't you are messing around with Crux, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I think messing around is a bit. I'm a professional,
Yeah,
I've done this
it
before.
sounds
Are
like
you
it
a
lacks intent.
Are you a professional Riftwalker?
I have rift walked professionally. If that makes me a professional rift walker, that's up to you.
My boy.
Well, I don't think Riftwalkers are professional in any manner or degree. So
yeah, I mean it's more of an art than a science, really. I guess you could say. Look, I get it. I don't love messing with the stuff, but there's things to be known, and that requires access to the quintessence. And the best way to do that, unfortunately, is to kind of walk that edge.
Well, surprise, surprise. You were walking that edge and there was an accident. And I throw up my metal arm in his face and I say, yeah, see what happens when you mess with Crux? This is what happens. I think it needs to be respected and not fucked with.
Well, I would agree with you. And I am sorry for what happened to you. But I do agree. I know it doesn't maybe seem like it, given my experiences. But I have a deep respect for Crux, for the quintessence itself, and the nature of the world today, unfortunately, is that if you want access to it, you have to associate with certain people.
Or be an elf.
And it's not my favorite thing to do in the world, but it's gotten me access, and I've been able to learn a little bit more, and I hope to continue to learn more, because I think whatever's going on, whatever we've been fighting, whatever that feather is, I think it's all related. I think it has to do with the quintessence. And I think something's either corrupting it or corrupting something like a Cruxborn. And I don't think your friend should have that feather. I'm sorry. Vol did not like it, is what I'll say. He had a very visceral reaction when she had the feather and seemed to say that we needed to pull her out or bring her back. I don't know. It was all very quick. But he said, stop her, bring her back. And I don't know what your experience is with Crux or Cruxborn, and I'm sorry for what happened to you. But I can promise you, Vol is a very innocent, I guess you can call it a soul. He hasn't been around here long enough to be corrupted or corruptible. And if he was worried, it was because there was something wrong.
He's just a little guy.
Okay. So I want to see if I understand this. The thing or the being made of Crux is telling us to be wary of a thing that has Crux in it. Quintessence, essentially. That doesn't sound suspicious to you at all?
It seemed as if what it was at first was something like Vol and has been twisted or corrupted by something. And that's kind of what we ended up with on the streets tonight. I guess it was tonight, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we fought earlier tonight, and I'm assuming that feather must be related somehow as well. Some sort of corrupting influence is twisting the natural energies of the world, and that's something that I'm very concerned with. And I also think it may be trying to make a play for your friend.
This
I'm
is
sorry,
so
what was your name
fucked.
again? I look at you, Jess, your character. Because I think you kind of have like two names, right?
I wink at you.
Anyway,
Ah,
I think
yes.
it was
Very mysterious. Is she always
Whatever
like
the-
this? I look at Davina. I'm like, is she always like this?
Yeah, I shrug.
Yeah, she's the, put it simply, yeah, yes.
Wonderful. She's just delightful.
But anyway, that's my story. That's the other half of that olive branch that you offered. And
Wow.
I do think we should be concerned about whatever it is you carry and whatever it is that seems to be after it. Those are two sides of a coin that I don't really wish to see either of them.
Agreed. Well, it's been a long day for all of us, so if you don't mind, I'd like to think on what you've said and get some rest. And hopefully nothing will come after us tonight for the rest of the evening. And we can regroup in the morning.
Love to learn more about that one whenever we get a chance to speak further. Pointing at Elaine.
Yeah, she's great.
Thank
very
you.
interested in that, but will she just be there all night?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Watching you sleep.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't
Hardly
sleep?
the first
She's
time,
really good at that.
but oddly comforting. So that's nice.
How else
Also,
do you expect me to get my beauty rest?
It's good you have your priorities straight. That's important. You're right.
Of course.
As they say, beauty is on the outside.
That's it? That's all they say?
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, wow, sweetheart.
Oh,
Well,
But well, Vel, that was just sorry, that was just a lot of information. I don't know if we've ever shared that much as part of an olive branch. Wow.
if you wanted to kill
I-
me, you'd do it by now. I don't think anything that I told you will threaten me or us, so no reason to keep it hidden.
what was the accident again that caused your little buddy to get in your head?
I don't really know. I was working with Crux, and I'm sure something similar to Davina's accident must have happened. It seemed to honestly spontaneously combust on me. And I think if Jasper hadn't found me in the wilds, I may not have made it back, honestly. I don't know. But when he did, and when he found me and woke me up, Vol was part of me. And I could talk to him, and he talked to me. And I also had some abilities that I didn't have before, which was scary, but cool, honestly.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Interested by this too.
what was the nature of your accident, Davina? If you care to share.
let's just say a friend was fucking around with Crux, and I ended up in the crossfire.
That's why I usually do it solo.
Hmm.
And far away from anybody else. It's not meant to be. Was it in a? He didn't have it like in a city somewhere, did he?
Oh no, we were traveling together. Close quarters.
Alone in the wilds is the only way I've ever interacted with it myself. Luckily, I don't know if anybody else been around me. But anyway, I'm sorry to hear that. You seem to be adapting well, though, and you seem capable. So I'm, for now, I suppose, happy to have you all with us.
Thank you. Compliments from you is what I live for.
I was just waiting. We were just waiting for your validation, Vel. Thank you.
Look, not to put too light of a spin on it, but the information you gave is much appreciated.
Sorry, yes. Mm-hmm. And we are, because of this now, I think, Vel, business partners. And I extend my hand to you.
Big ol'
Kind of shake
arch,
it.
big ol' arched eyebrow, just like
Yeah.
Confusedly. What business are we in? Just out of curiosity.
mountains. Don't you remember? We're in
A
mountains.
business of mountains.
I mean, to be a little bit more specific than Niall, we're gonna figure out who killed the captain and the true nature of this feather. And I think in that we can agree. We're gonna just work together until that happens, and then we part ways.
I'll shake your hand. I agree. It's a terrible business plan. Nobody would ever give you a loan for that, but I'm in.
Well, not all business is in the form of currency, my new friend.
Ain't that the truth? I'm done. I'm going to bed. I'm out for the night.
Wait.
Jasper?
So Elaine, you don't have to sleep?
I do in a sense, but I can see, I can hear everything. So if anything comes a knocking or trying to be sneaking, I just wake up and I kill it.
Cool. I'm going to bed.
Excellent.
I'm gonna turn to Sal for a hot second before bed. Kind of make sure we're off to the side so it's just us. I'm gonna say, Sal, do you really need to hold on to this feather?
It doesn't impact anyone except me, which means that for some reason, it's chosen me. And I think that that's not
I'll stay in
something.
the background.
I don't think that's anything to fear. I think that it's something that I can use to our advantage. And I need you to trust me on this. And you know me better than anyone, Dev, that if I'm in over my head, I can not only pull myself out, but I know that you'll be there holding my hand to get me out as well, if needed.
Okay. I'm gonna slowly like pull the feather out and start handing it over to you. I'm gonna say, the minute this starts becoming a problem, it's mine again. You know how I feel about this.
Understood. And I know that you've got my back. And I will put on a glove and take the feather from you, Dev, put it in my pocket, and then say, I'll keep it secret. I'll keep it safe.
Nah, you're fucking Pippin with the Palantir. That's what you are. You are not Frodo with the ring. You are Pippin with the Palantir. Let's be real here.
Oh God, Sal, you know I don't like this. We are keeping this from the boys. You cannot tell Elaine because she will tell the boys.
No, this is between us. It's between us.
Okay. Don't make me regret this.
She definitely will.
I won't.
You can't hear whispers on Discord.
I can't hear it.
I can hear it.
Stage whisper. What is it? What was it?
I said she definitely will.
I was gonna say, I'm sure. It was like narrator voice. She did, in fact, come to regret it.
I think Davina knows that, but
yeah, there you go. Exactly what Eric said. So, as you all are starting to get ready for bed, maybe the conversation is happening with Davina and Sal. Velterra, as you are starting to try to fall asleep, you hear the voice of Vol in the back of your head again. And he says, "The girl. See it now. The creature that you brought in, it was sick. And she's sick too. It's sad."
You think she'll become one of them?
Maybe not. There's still much of her left.
You think she's dangerous?
Not if we help her.
We always have to help people. We're already helping Jasper.
Thank you. I'm assuming we're in like the cot room, and
You and I are probably close enough where you could hear me. I don't know if anybody else. Would try to talk quietly when I do. I'm not like yelling this conversation.
I gotta say, I cannot help but have this hilarious image in my head of 5 cots set up, and they're just being the dumbest whispers happening. Like everyone's like, "Here's this conversation. We're partners now. We're gonna establish this home relationship."
Over there.
I would like to keep one secret, please.
oh my God.
Technically, Devin Eyes was a telepath.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is true.
That's true.
This is true. And Eric's was half telepathic.
I just also it's the same as with last campaign. When you guys are speaking telepathically, I'm just imagining you two intensely staring at each other.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
But yeah, I just in that conversation still. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with her. But I should ask, after everything, how are you doing? You good? As good as you can be?
I think so. I'm tired. I've never been tired before.
Yeah. By the way, what the fuck was that?
What was what?
You moved my hand. First of all, slightly violating, but I do barge into your place of residence on occasion.
Oh,
So
you're
I'll
welcome
let it
all the
go.
time.
I'll let it go. But yeah, that was you, and that was weird. I imagine probably why you're tired. Couldn't have been easy.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I didn't. In that moment, I just
Wait.
knew it needed to happen, and I knew you could help.
I'm sorry that happened.
Hey, look, I think that could be really useful in certain occasions. Okay, I just wasn't prepared. But also, I guess it's good to know.
Feel
Yeah.
better.
I swear to God. I guess it is good to know.
Well, I guess perhaps for the first time in your short life, get some rest. I guess.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, we'll see if you feel better tomorrow. That's it.
All right. Are we long resting?
Yes.
I would
Alright.
like to try.
Yeah, we
I'm
are.
gonna rest longingly.
Sure can try.
I do see and hear, so if I do sense anything amiss, I will wake up. I'll sacrifice a long rest to get up and investigate.
I only need 4
Absolutely.
hours, so I'm just gonna
Oh,
take
sweet.
take a little nip nap, and then I'll probably like, is there like a tall wall, or is it like fort-ish, or is there just one tall building?
I mean, so you're in like
Right.
the nave of the chapel. So the chapel itself is a big stone building. It's not enormous, but it's a big stone church. And it's surrounded by kind of the whole complex is surrounded by like a stone half wall.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of other sort of one-story structures scattered.
Yeah.
Like
After my 4 hours, I'll climb up on the top of the chapel. I'm assuming there's like a way up there because they probably have like a bell that they do chapel things with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll go up there and just chill up there until morning comes.
You're gonna Assassin's Creed it.
Oh yes.
Hell
Is there
yeah.
a hay bale at the bottom that I can
Yeah.
do like the
It is in fact a checkpoint. You've unlocked the checkpoint. Good job.
my eagle flies around in a circle and unlocks all the mini map
Yeah.
icons? Wonderful.
Yes. So you all retire for the evening onto your cots after your little whisper party. You eventually find that you are dozing off to sleep. Elaine, except for you, of course, you remain kind of aloft but inert as the evening passes in the chapel. You are all able to get a rest and at peace. Halfway through the night, Jasper, you awaken and head to the roof of the chapel, but it seems that, in fact, the missionary was an inconspicuous place for you all to spend the evening.
That pause there almost threw me off, Leo.
I was
Come
very
on!
worried.
And you all die.
And you are all murdered.
Murdered.
Excellent.
Your stupid little angel didn't even hit me, bro.
Yeah. Poor Elaine just got fucking whammied.
I got
Bodied.
whammied. And then I had to
Yeah.
fully heal myself with
Wham, bam,
my
wham.
lay on hands.
Davina just bows her head. That's a good shield. That's a good tank.
I feel better. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, and you awaken the next morning. The church bells ring.
Oh, we're broken.
Oh boy.
And you are all left currently to your own devices. Pastor Prudence has not come to disturb you or anything
Actually,
like
yeah.
that.
At some point, whenever I'd want to find her whenever she's awake. Like I wouldn't wait for everybody to wake up, but
Yeah, you can go look for her.
yeah, after I wake up, probably I figure that people are still asleep. But like when it makes sense for like maybe
Oh,
she's awake, I'd go look for her.
Yeah, I mean,
also other thing, was Niall in their room too? Was Niall one of the 5 cots?
or sorry, 6
Or
spots. Yeah,
did
he would have been
Niall?
with you guys. He would have been with you guys.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely go as the sun comes up. As a member of the clergy, she kind of has this like up at dawn mentality. Greet the day, work to be done. So if you wanted to kind of come down from your perch as the sun starts to rise, um, noting, I should say, I should have mentioned this before. It is still continuing to rain, even though the storm has died down slightly. There is still a storm. So even the sun rises, but it rises to a gray sky. So the sky kind of just slowly begins to lighten, which signals to you that the day is starting. And if you from your perch, you would actually see her emerge from one of the small dwellings, which is her humble residence um, outside of the chapel. And she kind of starts to mill about, gathering stuff together within the courtyard, kind of doing her beginning of the day chores.
Cool. Part of me wants to dive Assassin's Creed and then just have no
Do
one
it.
bat an eye because apparently that's like not a crazy thing to see. But
Do it.
I'm gonna climb down in a smart way and go up and talk to her, um, and just be like, you're the pastor, yeah?
I am. This is my mission. Yes.
Uh, I don't really know how religions work on this part of the continent, but do you guys have like a cardinal?
Cardinal. No.
No cardinal?
No. You mean like the bird?
Okay, cool. And I'll just walk away. That's it. No
I
explanation.
did.
Can I actually insight check before I walk away? Her response. That is a plush number, plush a number, plush 5, 16.
Yeah.
Plus 5.
She's trying to be helpful at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
She's all in. So she's like, she's like kind of like almost kicking herself in her brain a little bit, being like, I wish I could help. Right? Like the cardinal? Does he mean like she doesn't know what you're talking about?
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for everything. Thanks for the place to stay.
The mission always has its door open for those who need it. I could have said that more eloquently, but I didn't.
I'll walk back inside. Oh, is there any food?
Yes, we have a few rations. They're nothing you would find at an evening establishment here in town, but definitely enough to sustain you. And we're happy to give, you being refugees from the storm.
Thanks. I'll walk inside and just go get some food and wait for people to wake up.
Okay. It is like meager ass shit. Like hard bread and some cheeses and
Hey, cheese is dope.
cheeses. Sure, sorry. All right, anyway. Yeah. That's Jasper's morning.
Jasper's morning.
When I wake up, I look over at Dev. I try to see. I wake up probably early morning-ish, not before sunrise, right as the sun is rising. And I look over to see if Dev is awake.
I probably am because the bed is so uncomfortable. I need so much more down feathers and.
Oh, I know. I knew it would be a hard night's rest for you. I know.
Thank you for understanding. So.
Yeah. But you still look great.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to go get some breakfast with me? Should we wake up Elaine? Elaine!
I have been awake for 2 hours.
Do you want to come with us to get a bite downstairs?
Yes, I'll come watch you eat.
How joy.
Yes. I will. Elaine's gonna also prepare purify food and drink for today, just in case. I'm gonna be blessing everyone's food. I don't want anything getting in us.
You bless the cheese
Bless,
like as
bless.
it's like
I bless the cheese.
I've eaten half the wedge already, but it's fine.
It's the thought that counts. Just yeah, okay, so stand in this 5-foot radius from the rest of the food, and whatever's in your stomach should still count. So
Wunderbar.
So as I'm sipping some tea, I look at Sal and say, so what's the game plan for today? Where do we start?
Well, I think we should start with me touching the feather. Just kidding. Just kidding. I just wanted to.
No.
I was like, Sal, what the fuck did I say last night?
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay.
What is our game? Oh, well, we know generally who we're looking for. This
Do I
we're
have-
whispering.
Yeah, sorry. DM, do I have any contacts in this city that I would know that I could go to for answers?
Well, so the thing to remember too for the both of you, your biggest connection here in the city is Captain Garland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Captain Garland is a extremely well-known captain here in the city. There is no official leader of Scarport, but she's kind of the de facto head honcho here. She's the captain who Violet and Elaine worked for aboard her ship. She's the one who you chartered a passage on one of her vessels up from Iroquois to get to Scarport.
Okay. So I think we check in with Captain. I've got to assume that she's got some eyes and ears around Scarport. They could have possibly seen Niall's group and give us more information on them. They could give us, see if they've got any information on whoever killed the captain. What do you say?
This is good.
Do you want to bring this to her or no? Your call, Sal.
I think we can. Yeah. She knows a lot of powerful people here, and she may also know what Captain Arison was mixed up in. She could be our best lead. But I want to caution that we can trust her, but we just don't want to let anyone in her circle know, just in case, what is really going on.
No, whatever is going on with the crux, we need to keep that as quiet as possible. I agree.
Mm-hmm. And we know she's also not very nice to new strangers, so it'll be fun to see how she likes our two new friends.
She's gonna eat them alive, isn't she?
I know, she's definitely gonna eat them alive.
Looking
But
forward
yeah,
to
I think
seeing her.
it's been a long time since we've seen her.
Mm-hmm. This should be good. Or exciting, at least.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's touch base with the boys and see what they're thinking.
Vel in the morning. First thing he'd probably do is check in with Vol. He kind of introduced him to a potentially corrupted sort of crux thing, and that's kind of eating away at his conscience a little bit. So he wants to make sure that Vol is, one, okay, and two, is he still tired or whatever it was that he was feeling?
You now have a
You
demon
check
in
with-
your head.
You check in with him in the morning, and he's kind of back to his plucky, cheery
Okay.
self, and he's very grateful that you took the time to check in and you were worried about him.
Oh, he just wants your
Aw.
support.
He's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, he wants your
baby.
your love and care. Yeah. He
The
just wants to be on his
next
ship.
that I would do is probably maybe wait for them and check in with them first, but I want to go find Colton and let him know what happened with the captain. Doesn't have to be a whole thing, but just want to make sure that he gets that information from me.
Okay, so are you
Or Niall.
leaving the chapel?
I
to
would
go
check
back
in with the group first, because I also want to talk to Jasper. But that's something that I want to just get to before we kind of depart, if we're leaving or whatever we're going to do. So I guess before that, yeah, I guess you guys were kind of checking in with the rest of the group, so I'll kind of wait for you all and see what you guys were going to be talking about, I guess.
Sweet.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for you all. I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting, seeing what you guys are up to.
I'm just eating at the table,
So,
waiting.
Vel, how's your friend Vol?
Oh, he's good. He seems to be doing well. Thank you for asking. That's very kind of you. I'll let him know you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Question: Did you
Please,
name him
please do.
Vol, or did he come with that name?
I named him Vol. So Valencia is my sister's name, and her nickname growing up was Vol. And I don't know. I guess I kind of saw him as like a younger sibling, so I gave him Vol as a nickname.
All right. I just fell in Vol. I will be getting you mixed up.
Yeah. Well, my full name's Velterra,
Mm.
and my sister's full name was Valencia. But we kind of got the Vel and Vol nicknames as we grew up, and I don't know. It seemed right to give it to him. He seemed like he earned it.
That's so cute.
Can
When I do
we
see my sister
meet
again,
him?
that could get confusing, but we'll get there.
Mhm. And could we meet him one day? Today?
Maybe. I don't know. Still learning a lot about kind of what we got going on. So maybe we'll try. Anyway, what was y'all plan? What were we getting up to today?
Wow,
We
you're very
were-
chipper this morning. You must have slept really well on that cot. Dev, take it away, Dev.
We were gonna try to reach out to our ride here and see what she knew.
Okay. Where
Well, it's an old friend.
are we saying names or are we not naming names? Just so I know how hard to
No.
push here for a name.
Well, I was just, you know how you didn't tell us where we were going until we got here. I was gonna do that, but since we're now business partners, we're gonna go see Captain Garland. You may know of her.
Do I know of her?
You absolutely know her. As someone who has come to Scarport a fair amount of times, you know that she is the queen bee of this city.
Is
You've
that
run into-
like in a good sense or just is?
That's a matter of perspective. I would probably venture a guess, knowing Velterra and sort of the way he looks at the world, he might be put off ever so slightly by the way that she kind of maintains her power grip.
Understood. And would I know kind of where to find her if they were all heading in that direction? Or basically, if I separate from them, can I meet back up with them later? Is my question.
If you wanted to separate with them, yeah, you would probably have a sense.
Okay.
To meet up with her.
I will, however, when you mention the name, kind of raise an eyebrow. You all have a connect with her. That's a good person to know, I'm sure.
Do we need to
You
be
think
worried
maybe
about her,
she
Vel?
had... Huh?
She's
Do we need to
great.
be worried about her, Vel?
She's very cool.
No, not worried.
She's so cool. Elaine and I sailed around. Anyway, we go way back with her. She's known us for years.
Insight. Insight check.
Okay, insight check me.
18 plus 5 is a 23. I don't believe a word. You're so
Right.
performative. I'm just like, yeah, you know everybody. Everybody and you go back 5 years. 23.
I have a lot of clients, okay? I rolled no, it's true. Violet Salazar has sailed around the continent with her and
Yeah,
has spent years with her.
What you pick up, Jasper, in this moment, this is not her being performative. This is her being someone who likes being a head bitch in charge. And this is an opportunity to be like, I know someone really important, and she knows me.
Okay.
And we're
Still
best friends.
insufferable, but she's not
Hi,
lying.
Diggy.
Yes.
We're besties.
Okay. That's impressive. Perhaps I could check in with my partner, my traveling companion, and then we can meet up with you guys. I do have some business I'd like to attend to, finishing up with some of the captain's affairs, if you don't mind. I was fairly close with her and some of her crew. I'd like to at least tell them what happened. But I'd be happy to meet you wherever you find Captain Gardner.
Are you bringing Niall with you?
I think it's probably for the best, unless you think he could be of use to you.
No, you can take him.
Okay.
you can.
Please take him.
Take him.
Okay.
Okay.
I will. Good.
I was gonna say, so everyone's attended for except Jasper. What are you doing?
Well, I was gonna bring him with me,
Yeah,
potentially.
Okay.
If he's cool
Okay.
with it.
Then let's.
So,
go ahead.
just while we were walking, I just wanted to check in with him. Unless we have something else you want to do real quick.
With Jasper or with Niall?
With Jasper.
No, go ahead. Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So as we're either before we leave or while we're walking, I just want to check in with you, Jasper. So I know we talked about this last time. You were unsure. I have to say, I think there may be, I don't know if there's a connection, but I think there's something important to be learned with whatever's happening here, especially with that artifact that they have, that feather, whatever it is. I think based on Vol's reaction and whatever that thing we fought, something's going on with the quintessence or crux or something, and I feel like I need to know more about it. And I think it can also help me learn more about Vol and what happened with us. But I told you if you needed to leave, I would go with you. So
No, it's fine. Like, if you can promise me a ship, I'll help you in this.
I can promise you to do everything I can to get you a ship.
That's better than I can do on my own. So,
Well, we may still have a line with the Hyacinth. We've still got Niall, and I hope to go find Colton and at least explain what happened. I can't imagine they're going to be prepared to set sail right now, given everything. But maybe once they have some time to deal with whatever's going on with the captain, maybe have a proper funeral for her. Maybe we could still, get them to give us a lift.
sure. Yeah, that works for me. I
Okay.
just really, really hope that we don't run into.
Yeah. But we do have some new friends now who are pretty handy to have around, it seems, especially that automaton. I don't know, I don't hate having her
She's
at
great,
our back. Yeah.
but I think
So
friends is a stretch.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I use that term very, very
You
loosely,
do.
you know.
You do.
But doesn't hurt to have them and their sentinel around, so
Yeah.
that could be useful. But anyway, yeah, so I think we'll probably head out to find Colton and bring Niall with us
Yeah.
if there's anything that needs to happen before then.
Break the
Okay.
news of the dead.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be
Yeah.
its own thing, but unless you have something that happens at that point. But I just wanted
Yeah,
that's kind of where we go for a minute.
let's do that. Let's break away to you guys as you head to go find Colton.
Okay.
I will say your first thought would be to head back towards the
Depot
center.
Yeah.
Kind of retrace your steps to the office area. It's still kind of early in the morning, and sure enough, there is still work that is being done. There's crew coming on and off the Hyacinth, just outside the office building that houses Captain Harrison's office. And Colton is out there kind of barking orders as folks are loading up crates and then bringing them to a warehouse that is in a building right next door to the office building.
I'll kind of not bring my cloak hood down altogether, but kind of lift it a bit to kind of nod in the direction of the captain's office and start heading that direction.
Not to
Colton, yeah, if he sees me kind of as we approach.
Oh, okay. And he'll kind of like lift his hand again, like he did when he saw you yesterday, and he leans over to someone next to him, and he kind of says, kind of mouths like orders to have them carry on. And he walks with you, and he kind of meets you as you guys walk towards the front of the office. He meets up with you at the front. He says, "Belterra, how was your first night in town?"
It wasn't great. Why don't we head into the captain's office for a minute? I think there's some stuff we need to talk about.
Yeah, of course. She hasn't come in yet. I have a key though. I don't mind letting you in.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. So he goes and he unlocks the front door of the office. And same sort of path that he took you yesterday. You guys head up to the upper level. He walks you down a long hallway, and then he puts the key in the thing to unlock the door, and he goes, "Oh, she must have forgot to lock it last night. That's weird."
As soon as that happens, I'm gonna put my arm out and like prevent him from opening the door.
Upsetting.
You okay, man?
How about I go in first? And I'll look to Vel and be like, can I take the lead on this?
I'm gonna look at Colton and just gonna put my hand out to be like, don't worry about this. Hang on just a second, and I'm going to pull the sickle that I have out of my belt just to have it ready.
Ooh.
I'll give Jasper a nod.
I'll take out one of my pistols and open the door ready to shoot if there's anything in there.
And fairly practiced, as soon as he kind of opens the door and goes in one direction, I kind of follow him in and look the other direction.
And I'm taking because I was in the room, so I'm gonna my aim is gonna be at the long side of whatever the room is. So if there's a short or a long side, I'm going long and then leaving him to the short.
Okay. And you guys are entering the office?
Yeah.
Okay. You walk into the office. The first thing you notice is that there are books that have been pulled off of the shelf on the wall. The drawers of the desk are open and ransacked. and there is right at the back of the desk, there is a puddle of water pooling around some boot prints in the carpet.
It was an icicle. He stabbed with the icicle, and the icicle melted.
We solved
We
the
got
murder.
Give me another
Got
one. But nobody in here, it seems.
Like in your very first initial look, no.
I do a sweep.
All right, give me a. I'll say perception again. I think you're trying to perceive it.
14.
14. You don't necessarily notice anyone, but you do notice that there are other wet boot prints that are moving over into the corner of the room.
Moving.
No, that like are like getting over into the corner of the room.
Okay. Is there anything in there or on that side of the room, or does it look like it's? Does it go to a door?
Not that you can see.
It's just like an empty corner.
Um.
What?
So it just walks up, just straight up to the wall. Can I go up to the wall and do a knock test?
Ooh.
As you walk up to the wall, you get close to the corner and you hear the cocking of a pistol.
Son of a bitch.
As the invisibility spell
Yes, I was gonna say it was
and standing in front of you is a tall, slender elf with tall pointed ears. But Jasper, this is an elf you know. Staring back at you is Micah Embergleam, the nephew of Councilman, formerly Embergleam, of the Ilgrian High Elves. He stands in front of you with a gun cocked, pointed directly at your temple, and a look of fear and shock on his face. And that's the session, baby!
What?
Oh,
No way.
kid, what'd you get yourself into?
Who?
Never a problem to
Oh,
separate
gosh.
the party. We separated the party.
This is bad. I can't.
Kid,
It's okay, guys. We got Colton. So
Yeah, Colton.
we're
He's a
fine.
guy.
Colton doesn't know what's going on.
What?
All right, everyone. Well, hey, that was session 2 of Zholmyr Unbridled. Thank you to everyone who joined us, tuned in for our stream. It's always so much fun having you with us. Thanks for pulling up a seat at our table, and we will see you actually next week.
When are we coming back?
We are coming back in 1 week from today. We are altering our normal bi-weekly schedule a little bit because some of us are going to be traveling at the end of the month, and so we're moving up a session. But that means, unfortunately, there will be a 3-week break between next week and the session after. But the good news is we'll be back sooner than later. So, all right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.